Welcome to Petty Talks with Deja. Okay, y'all, we really need to talk about Drew and Ralph because the whole situation is messy and sad, and honestly, it feels like a financial lesson is playing out publicly. So, for anybody who hasn't been really keeping up, Drew and Ralph have obviously been going through a very public and messy divorce, and over time, things have just continued to get messier. We've seen custody conversation, court documents, house drama, money drama, and now some text messages have surfaced. One of the biggest issues right now is that Drew has been living in the marital home, but according to what's been discussed publicly, she only has been allowed to stay there temporarily. And by May 31st, I believe, she's expected to leave the home. So naturally, people are looking at this like, wait, what's actually going on financially? Because now the conversation isn't just about divorce, it's did Drew really protect herself in the marriage? So there is this whole conversation of in the messages where Drew is saying that she gave around 50% of her Real Housewives check. And it didn't just come out randomly. These messages were reportedly surfaced because Ralph and Drew were asking whether Ralph was asking Drew whether or not she was going to help with the house expenses. Because according to the court documents, while Drew is living in the house through May 31st, she was supposed to be contributing financially to the home and just sharing a part of the house expenses. So Ralph is basically like, are you going to be helping pay these bills? And Drew is basically saying like, I've been paying, I've been doing everything because from what's been discussed, Drew is saying that she had already been covering the house experiences, like the kids, the bills, and not only that, she's allegedly been also giving Ralph like the 50% of her Real Housewives of Atlanta check. And my thing was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what? Because Drew only makes around like $12,000 a month from Housewives, and you're giving half of that away. You only get $6,000 left. Their mortgage is $8,000. She can't even cover the mortgage at that point. So let's just say that they're splitting the mortgage. She only has $2,000 left. So $2,000 to do what with? You know, um, so with that $6,000 supposed to be paying, taking care of the house expenses, paying the mortgage, taking care of the kids, handling other responsibilities. Like, where is your money really going? And also, does that money only come from her Real Housewives of Atlanta check, or does it also come from like her, Tubi movies? Because she does a little good Tubi movie. And on this last episode of, well, not the last one, but the episode before, episode 3, she was saying that she was flying from here and there and getting off the plane and having to go to work for her Tubi movie. So I'm assuming that that's paying, but I just want to break down her finances because, girl, what is going on? And like, this is where I really need women to start paying attention, because love is definitely one thing, marriage is one thing, but finances, you need to know what's going on. And the whole situation with Drew, where Ralph, I don't remember which season it was. I think it was like either her first or her second season, where she went out of town with the girls, or she went out of town somewhere, and then Ralph, she comes back and Ralph is like, yeah, well, while you were gone, I actually moved the whole house. I signed the papers and everything is done. No need for you to do anything. And it's like, is that the reason why she's being asked to leave? Because she doesn't actually have any thing to do with the house. That is his house completely. It doesn't really make sense because he's living in the basement, but maybe he was just being copacetic and like, look, the kids are here. I'm just going to go in the basement and do what I got to do because there's a back entrance and I don't have to come upstairs. Like, I just don't understand what the whole purpose of this was. And it's possible that because she was given primary custody, that she was allowed most of the house while he was like kind of a part-time parent and he only needed the basement part. I can honestly see the courts being like, if that's how y'all are able to split it, then that's how it'll be split. But honestly, Drew, but now honestly, Drew is being told to leave. And yes, I definitely understand that is emotional and that's scary, but I want to be honestly very, very real about that whole situation. I really don't like the narrative that she's just going to be homeless that she's trying to spend, because she's allegedly making $12,000 a month. Girl, you may absolutely have to downgrade, but you're not living, in the same luxury that you lived before that Ralph could afford. But that's not the same thing as having nowhere to go. And I don't like that she is kind of like trying to spin this narrative of like, oh, I'm just this broken and down woman. Girl, you are a reality TV star. You just put out an album. You know, you're on these Tubi movies. You're in Atlanta. People are raising families in apartments, townhomes, nice areas, horrible areas for much less. You got Bankhead and Buckhead. You can find a place in either one of those areas for $5,000. Well, I won't say for Bankhead, but you can find a really nice place under. That's what I'll say, under $5,000. You know, you don't have to have this 12K a month lifestyle. I think that she wants something very luxury, and she's probably not even trying to look, because honestly, Atlanta, one thing they're good at is luxury on a budget. Okay, it's a whole lot of millionaires that only make under $100,000 a year. Okay, so that's honestly just different from true homelessness or houselessness, and she really sounds very dumb, if I'm being honest. And honestly, this just feels like a cautionary tale, because this is what happens when you just trust somebody way too much and you don't protect yourself. And you know, that's just why I keep saying, like, women have got to stop thinking that love is enough. Love does not replace paperwork. Love does not replace financial literacy. Love does not replace making sure that your name is where it needs to be and that you're reading everything. Now, do I feel bad for Drew? Absolutely, because public divorce, custody, finances, and all of that definitely is heavy. But I also think that this situation should be a lesson and not just sympathy. Because if you are, you know, paying bills, if you're helping support your household, giving up 50% of your income and still walking away unstable, something definitely went wrong. But you know, just let me know what y'all think. Did Ralph financially play Drew? You know, or did Drew just kind of trust too much and fail to protect herself? And be honest, is this real houselessness, or is it just a very, very hard downgrade? But this has been Petty Talks with Deja, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.